Welcome back to Fireplace Time with Hani. Today we're going to talk about how intuition will help you make that final decision of when you are actually ready to start your family. My name is Hani Twersky, a mother of 8, and I have helped hundreds of families create a very rewarding family life. And you can do that too. What do you think is actually necessary to create that dream family of yours that will help you stop wondering when you are ready to start your family and actually step into your family dream? In this video, I will elaborate on the more esoteric part, which is the intuition. I did already touch upon the first two and went into more elaborately on the education and on the preparation. And here I will elaborate more on the intuition part. So let's start with understanding what intuition actually means. And of course, I will explain it from how I understand intuition. And you are welcome to use your intuition to understand what intuition means for you. But I will try to use really simple words so you can understand what I'm talking about. And from my perspective, intuition is a connection to source, to higher power, to our higher self, or however you perceive where all our energies come from. And because we are connected to source, we have access to knowledge that is wider and more expansive and wiser than what we typically have access from our more limited perspective and version of ourselves. So in other words, intuition can also be translated and synonymous with the word knowing. So when we say knowing, when you know something, you sometimes don't know how you know, but you know, right? So just like you know you are you, and you don't know how you know you are you, but you just know. It's immediate. It's available to you. That's how I understand intuition to be a human experience where we all, at the end of the day, have a knowing. And I want to share with you something that intuitively came to me when I first started my parenting classes. Yes, it's many years ago. In 2011, I was still married, and I held offline, in-person parenting classes in my beautiful, very big house that I lived in. And I just knew that I have to introduce my parenting classes in this way, which went something like this. I don't want to offer you parenting classes so that you can have something else that you can bash yourself for. Oh, I'm a bad parent because I don't do whatever Hani suggested. That's not my intention with offering parenting classes. So I'm saying that same thing to you because I find that oftentimes having parenting courses, having parenting books, and reading about how to parent can take away and dampen your sense of your own knowing, because it's super important when you go into your parenthood role that you make your decisions, that you operate ultimately from a place of your own intuition. Now, I don't think I need to tell you, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Is it true that in any area, especially in parenting, but also in money or in health, that you will receive from people around you varying or contradicting comments, recommendations, or suggestions? And that can feel confusing, disempowering, and sometimes frustrating. That is why I wanted to preface that right away when I started to do parenting guidance and talking about intuition and sharing with you my thoughts about intuition. I want to remind you of that same intention with all the videos that I put out, or anything you learn from me, or from anyone for that matter is. But at least my intention is is to help you empower yourself as a parent. Help you come into your original, natural, organic ability to parent. So when we talk about intuition, I would like to present to you to look at it from 3 different angles so that you can potentially and hopefully use your intuition to help you make that massive decision of whether and when to bring a child to the world. And that would also include all the aspects of creating your family dream. How many children are you going to have? And what kind of family do you want to lead? And all these aspects is to allow yourself to be informed by your gift of your intuition. So the first aspect that I want you to look at is your relationship with your intuition. At the end of the day, I believe everything in this world is about how we relate to that person or aspect. And I want to invite you to look at how you relate to your intuition. So what we're aiming for is to have a trusting relationship, because you're going to have to trust your intuition when nobody's there and you have to make a decision what to do with your child. You're going to have no choice but to trust your intuition. I don't think you're going to have a mentor or a mom or a mother-in-law that you'll have available 24/7 to actually answer your questions. What do I do now? What do I do now? Of course, sometimes we would love for somebody to give us that reassurance, but ultimately, wouldn't it be better if you learned to trust your intuition? So what I'm inviting you to do is to close your eyes and to see what your relationship with your own intuition is. Are you even aware that you are gifted with this incredible gift called intuition? And if you haven't been introduced or given thought to your intuition, then this is an opportunity for you to look into, oh, I actually sometimes do know things that nobody tells me, but I just know, and I don't know how I know, but I know. You might hear something like the third eye, which is the place here between your 2 eyes, and that's where the locality, it's most localized in this spot, because we know here, right? We don't know on our fingertips. We know in our whole body, but it's localized primarily here. Or in the Hebrew chakra system, it's located in the forehead, and it's called Chokhmah, and it's part of the tree of life. Here are some ways that you might relate to your intuition. One way is to not believe in it and dismiss it and maybe even deny. And I respect wherever you are. This is not a judgment. This is only an exploration and an invitation. Another way that you can relate to your intuition is to feel like I don't know anything about my intuition. So there is a disconnect. There isn't a dismissal or a denial, but there is a disconnect or not being in touch with your intuition. A third way that you might relate to your intuition is vaguely knowing about your intuition, but not giving it enough weight, or not even perhaps knowing that it can give you much power. It's like, okay, it would be nice to have that inner guidance. The fourth way is to be fully in touch, and you have come to realize that your intuition is this superpower, and no matter what other people say, you have a knowing and you have a sense of direction, and you actually lead your life based in your intuition. And that's the goal, to trust and to lead your life intuitively. So that's the first aspect when we talk about intuition, which is how is your relationship with your intuition, aiming to trusting your intuition. I remember myself as a teenager, for example. I would go shopping with my mother, and she would be surprised by how quickly I would shop for clothing or anything I needed because of how intuitive I was with, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And I didn't know I was intuitive. I knew I am decisive and I make decisions super fast. Later on in life, I have come to realize that I have this gift called intuition. And I want you to realize that for yourself as well. So that brings us to the second aspect to look at, which is developing your intuition. How do you develop anything in your life? Any skill set, any talent? You want to become a musician, you want to become an entrepreneur, or whatever you are looking to develop in your life. What do you need to do to develop a skill? What is it? Well, if you said practice, you guessed right. Because I believe, just like any other skill set, you can practice using your intuition. Think of a time when you followed your intuition and how that felt, or the opposite. I'm inviting you to think of a time when you intuitively knew something, but you didn't listen to your intuition. You listened to your pressure from other people, to other people's recommendations for you, and how you felt not listening to your intuition. So my sense is that you already have an inkling of how it feels when you listen to your intuition. So practicing means to be conscious of that voice inside you that tells you what is appropriate for you to do at this time. And this energy of your intuition is always available to you and always fresh in the moment. What do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. And if you need assistance with building your intuition, I've created a list of affirmations that you can download for free in the descriptions below. For now, I'm inviting you to say that with me now. I know what is right for me. I know when to say no. So these are some affirmations that you can tell yourself and begin to practice trusting your intuition, leading with your intuition, making your decisions with your intuition. Can you see where we are heading with developing your intuition so that you can know whether or when you are ready to start your family? This is not rocket science. It's about building your relationship with your intuition and coupling that with taking the time to educate yourself and coupling that with preparing yourself, leading once again with your intuition. I will link 2 videos, one on education and one on preparation, at the end of this video. As a mother, I have done an enormous amount of healing. I was very blessed to have been introduced to my now spiritual mentor, and my intuition has grown in indescribable measures, and my trust in myself as a parent has equally grown along with me developing my intuition and also my trust in my intuition, and it goes a little bit hand in hand. Now, the good news is that I teach this skill set in my Peak Parenting Academy. See the links below to reach out to me or to somebody on my team. Now, I wasn't always that in touch with my intuition. In fact, reclaiming my intuition is part of my healing journey. And that brings me to the third aspect, which is recover. Recover from being denied. Chances are that you were denied as you were a child because you are gifted with psychic abilities from the moment you psychically know the exact moment to enter your mother's egg and your father's sperm to form yourself as a being and to become and come into being through that union. That is you coming as a soul, as a spark of the divine, with psychic abilities to know exactly where and when to enter. That is something that most science ignores. So when you're a child and you have a knowing and an understanding of when and how to turn and flip over when you're still in your crib, and when and how to start crawling, this is all psychic. This is not something that can actually scientifically be explained other than realizing and accepting that you are a psychic being and recovering the reclamation of your intuition, of your psychic ability, will be part of your healing journey. To heal all the times in your life when your knowing was dismissed and overpowered by authorities that are simply overpowering because they are older than you, bigger than you, physically at least. So when you recover and you reclaim your intuition, guess what? Guess what else will happen as a result? You will be able to gift that to your child, and to know that your child comes into the world with incredible spiritual gifts and knowing and psychic ability, and to allow that to develop from when they're young, to allow them to build a relationship with their intuition. So by you building your relationship and beginning to trust your intuition, by developing your intuition and using your intuition to make your decisions in life, especially major decisions, and recovering from all the times in your life when you were denied the reality and the truth of who you are as a spiritual, alive, cosmic spark of God that always has a knowing every single moment. Do you know what will happen when you reclaim your intuition fully? You will know whether and when to start your beautiful family. And of course, if you want assistance and speeding up your process in creating your magical family, see the links below to reach out to me or to somebody on my team. If this video has given you value, you might want to click on the like button so that other people like you can watch it as well. If you have time now, you can check out my video on preparation or on education. Be sure to subscribe so that you can stay in the loop. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.